Hi, you guys. Welcome back to Coming in Hot with Caroline, and we have a special guest today. I am so excited. You know I love talking to powerhouses, okay? I like talking to hustlers. That's the point here. I am introducing Dee. First of all, I'm not going to say Tommy Hilfiger's wife because you're not. You are, but that's not how we're going to refer to you. Dee Ocleppo, okay? She has her own line, her own life, and she's a powerhouse. And Dee, I'm so happy to have you here. I really am.
He's my husband, by the way.
He's your husband, but like,
my husband.
He's your husband. You're not his wife.
That's right.
No, but Dee, I'm so happy to have you here. Thank you for coming on.
So happy to be here.
Dee, I want to dive deep because I feel like you have such an incredible story. And honestly, digging deeper with you, I really got like emotional. I feel like we have actually a lot in common, which I just didn't think about, but I think most women do. And I think we just never touch those things. But will you kind of I always want to start at the beginning because I always like knowing how women get to where we are today. So I know in the beginning, you lived in a small town, you grew up, you had parents who were not from the States, neither did I. I had first generation parents also. And my parents always spoke a different language in my house. And we were just different. And I always felt kind of insecure about it. And it was always like this, I don't know why. I feel like sometimes kids who have parents who come here, I don't know if that's what makes us hustlers. I don't know if seeing our parents struggle and work their asses off for us makes us, I don't know, a different breed. I don't know what it is. Will you tell a little bit about your childhood and your family?
Sure. So I grew up in Rhode Island. And my dad immigrated from Turkey. My parents actually met in Canada, but then they moved. My dad's first job was a radiologist, and his first job was in a hospital in Rhode Island. So that's how I got to Rhode Island. And my mom was British and my dad was Turkish. So they were both very different. And then coming to this small town, I was very different. And I don't speak Turkish. My dad didn't speak Turkish to us just because he felt like he sort of, I think, wanted to acclimate my sister and I into more American culture. And, so I never spoke Turkish, but we had Turkish food and he was different and he had an accent and my mom had an accent. And so I always felt like I just felt different. I always felt a little weird and I was a little bit embarrassed by it. And now as an adult, I'm kind of embarrassed that I was embarrassed about it because it's actually, when you get older, you realize, well, that's quite fabulous. That makes you special and unique. But when you're young, you don't necessarily see it that way.
Was there an insecurity at school? Because I feel like there's so many girls, again, at school that you do feel this weird insecurity or this real embarrassment about who we really are. And I thought it made me stronger in the end. But how do you feel about that?
I mean, I was very, very insecure and I was very, very shy. I would go to sit in the back of the class or the corner. I just didn't want to attract any attention to myself because when you're insecure, you don't want to attract attention to yourself. I remember when I was in 6th grade, I had a teacher that picked up on this and she pulled me from the back and made me sit in the front. And then this same teacher, every 6th grade, she would do a musical. And so I tried out for crew. For the musical. Okay, I wanted to be part of the crew, of course. And this teacher made me the lead. And I was Maria in The Sound of Music.
What?
Freaked out. I completely freaked out. And I remember, she announced it and she's like, and Maria is. And then she said, and by the way, my name, I go by Dee now, but this goes back to the story. I went by, my birth name is Deniz, Deniz, which is Turkish. And you can imagine, like in Rhode Island, what is that name? I was going to get teased and Dennis, and I got teased with a name. So now I go by Dee because that changed quickly. She announced my name as the lead. I was like, wait a minute, I didn't even want that, And I remember I had to go the first day of rehearsals. I had to sing in front of everybody and I just broke down crying. So this teacher actually really helped me break out of it. And I sometimes wonder if I hadn't met that teacher, like she gave me so much confidence and that experience helped me so much. It was brutal. It was brutal, but it definitely, that's how you grow.
Right. It's the only way to grow. So how did you go from this small town to living this incredible life? And I think some people think it's a fairy tale. And I think what we realize is it's not. It's a lot of hard work, a little bit of luck, and working your ass off. Can you talk a little bit about how you live?
I mean, it's a long journey because I went from this very shy kid, 6th grader. And by the way, I was also very much a tomboy because along with the insecurity, like I was unsure of my own identity and didn't think I was pretty at all. So I kind of dressed more like, I wasn't that girly girl.
Right.
I skateboarded and I was more of a tomboy. So then after I did this play, I became more confident in myself. And there was somebody there that really believed in me. And that gave me a lot of confidence. And then going on to junior high, it was a slow progression to get
Right.
to where I am. As I went into high school and grew up, I was quite tall. And then a couple people might have said, you're cute or you're pretty, and that
Oh,
gives you a
wow.
little confidence. And
Yeah.
when I graduated high school, they shot a picture in the newspaper of my
Oh,
graduating high school class. And it was in the Providence Journal. And there was a photographer from, do you remember Bonnie Bell, the lip glosses? Bonnie
yes, of course.
photographer from Bonnie Bell saw this picture of me in the graduated class and called the school and said, who's that girl that was in that picture? And came to my house to take pictures for Bonnie Bell. And that's kind of how I got started modeling. And then I won a little local modeling contest. And then that's where the modeling came in. And then I went to college and then went to Paris. And
Oh my God. Wait a second. Hold on. We have to we have to discuss first what I found interesting what you said though, when you were a tomboy, right? You didn't want to get any attention, right? You were dressing kind of down and different to not have attention on you. Because I always find, me, it's all about getting up and getting dressed. And I find it so fascinating that as you started to feel a little more confident, you started to, probably put yourself together a little differently and started to look different. And if you would have not felt that good in that photo, they may have not noticed you and you may have not taken that turn. So I just find that so interesting that that little bit of confidence probably changed the trajectory of your life.
yeah. And that and hormones, because honestly,
So true.
the hormones kicked in. I started liking boys, and I realized, well, if I want to attract the boys, I better stop dressing like them and be a little bit more girly. So that that was definitely part of it. So by the time I got to high school, I was definitely more of a girly girl. I was wearing lipstick and into jewelry, and up until sixth grade, it was not good situation at all.
Wait, Dee, so when you get to start modeling now, a lot of people think modeling is so glamorous. And I know there's moments it's really glamorous, but I think once we've all worked in this entertainment business, we understand that it isn't a lot of glamour. It's actually really hard work. You're traveling 24/7. You're young. You don't have your family. You're lonely. I think people don't see the other side of it. What was
Mhm.
modeling like for you? What lessons did you learn from that? Especially a lot of young girls thinking that that's their dream, or how do I get involved in this? Or I just want to get out of my small town. Do you have any advice or anything that you can say about that time?
For me, it was about getting out of my small town and looking for opportunities again to grow. Modeling is obviously not the like long-term play. My father insisted that I go to college,
Okay.
which in hindsight, I'm really glad he did, because when I did finally get to Paris, it was a little bit late in the game normally, but I found that when I left college and I went to Paris, there was a lot of people that I was exposed to that I hadn't been exposed to in my small town or
Right.
college. There was a lot of sort of predatory men, a lot of people that maybe didn't have my best interests at heart. There was a lot of drugs going around, a lot of
Yeah,
nefarious creatures, let's just say. Not all, but I was
a
exposed
lot.
to more of that modeling than I normally would be.
How did you handle that, Dee?
Some of the girls that I was modeling with were much younger. And I think because I did go to college and I was a little bit older, I was much stronger by then. And I also knew that it wasn't the end all be all. I had a college
Right.
education. I was going to do something. I wasn't banking all the eggs on that.
Yep.
I think would be a lot of pressure. And maybe some girls felt like they had to deliver or succeed no matter what and do anything. I fortunately wasn't coming from that angle or that philosophy. I literally did it to travel, and I did a lot of catalog and had fun, met a lot of great girls, and then stopped. I didn't do it for that many years. I did it, I
Okay.
don't know, 3 or 4 years. In Paris, I learned French. I traveled.
Wow.
It was a great,
But you went into it with experience, which I think is just
I went into it.
interesting, right? With some maturity and some experience. We always want to rush to the end, rush to like the big thing, but you don't realize that the journey is what makes you smarter, stronger, and more capable. So you just have a different perspective. So I
Yeah.
love that it's about figure out who you are, have a little maturity and experience to get out there. I mean,
I
personally, because I
I
think
think
that's what
those
saved
years
you.
too, I think your 20s, like even when you go to college in your 20s, there's so much growth that happens
Yeah.
then. And I was, I've been reading a book about like the brain development. I have a teenager, so I'm reading about the teenage brain. And like there's so many things that you're probably not equipped to deal with when you're that young, and like your decision making at college. And it's just not the best, and it's
Right.
not necessarily your fault or your parents' fault. It's literally that frontal lobe thing has not come in, so you do risky things and that
Right.
you don't do when you're older.
Right. I know. I agree. And so when you go, so you're modeling, what makes you decide, okay, I'm done with this. Let's wrap this up. I want to move on to something else. Because I know that inside, it just feels like you're a hustler inside. You're a business person inside. Like you're somebody who wants to work. And it isn't just about all the fun and games. Like it seems like you actually somebody who likes to work.
I
So
did actually. I was when I was in college. Speaking of college, I was not only modeling, I was also a lifeguard at the pool, and I had a waitressing job. I mean, I was juggling a lot in college. I had three
amazing.
jobs in college.
Oh
So
my God. See? And everyone's like sitting around partying. You had three jobs. So I'm saying there is something about putting in that work ethic. And I think it's interesting when you see it in somebody so young.
yeah, no, I mean, for me, it wasn't really, my dad had me on a really tight budget to
He
also,
did.
so that definitely contributed. And I wanted to have,
So you weren't given everything, right, Dee? Because I feel like sometimes the people who work the hardest are the ones who are kind of fighting for it.
no, no, I think that's what motivated me. And I mean, from a young age, I mean, but my parents taught me like I was babysitting. I would cut my grass,
You
in
would.
our yard. My parents would pay me. I always, from a young age, I learned how to make money, and I always loved making money.
Do you do that for your kids? Just really curious because we make our kids like now. It's funny because it's funny what you do. And now we're really enforcing it. I have an eighth grader and a ninth grader. Now it's about getting those chores in, being responsible. Do you make your kids do that?
Um, I
What?
actually guilty as I do not. And with Sebastian, I'm trying to do it with the chores. I mean, he's
Yeah.
15. The other ones, I don't know why. I wish I could tell you why.
Yeah.
I feel like it was like a generational. I don't know. I don't know why. Like they don't they were boys and they don't babysit, and I don't know. I don't know what I could.
I
I
know,
don't know.
me too. I feel the same because it's like the two boys. And I'm like, I don't know what, but I
It's
guess
like
we like
you can't
cut
have
the
a paper
grass.
route. I don't even know what I, I don't know what he could do, but I have to do, I have to get on that because I think that, benefited me so much to be able to
Right.
learn that at an early age. I think it made
Right.
a difference.
Wait, so tell us, okay, so you leave modeling because you have so the career, this is nothing. I don't think people realize what a huge career you've had. What happens after modeling? How do you start?
I get married. I have two kids. I was married almost 10 years. I think we divorced after 9. Um, and
How old
then
were you that first marriage? How old were you at this point?
well, when I divorced or when I
No,
got
when you
married?
got married.
I was 27 when I got married.
Okay, 27 when you got married. And were
Got
you
married.
feeling pressure? Were you feeling, is everyone else doing it? What happened? Because I was engaged at 27 and we called off the wedding.
Oh, you
But
did?
oh yeah, and I just talked to him recently, which is interesting. But let's just say that I would have gone down the same path, which is fascinating because I know I wouldn't be married to him
Yeah.
today. So,
Divorced years later with 2 kids.
right. So, what went on there? What was that decision making there? Because I always tell women to wait. I think marriage is a Ponzi scheme.
Yeah, I felt a lot of pressure, but it is what it is. Like I said, this is
Right.
part of my journey, and I
Yeah.
have two fabulous kids. It was a very dark time. I mean,
Yeah.
I divorce is brutal.
Yeah.
Anybody that's been through it knows that. I don't wish it on my worst enemy. And particularly when you have kids. I think it's brutal when you don't have kids, but when you have kids, it's really brutal. And I would never want to go through that ever again in my
Yeah.
life.
What
That was
got
a
you through it, Dee? What got you through it for all of those? I have so many women online right now. I can't tell you. I have DMs all day, every day with either women wanting to leave and just don't know how, or leave and are terrified. They don't know if
I mean,
there's
it was
life
two
after.
things. It was like it was a gut and just being honest with myself, that I'm not happy and I'm not with the right person. Like I just instinctively knew that, and I could literally not see the future, if that makes sense. I don't know. It's
Completely.
very deep and internal, and um, it's very hard to acknowledge. It's deep, and it's hard because you're breaking up a family, and there's a lot of guilt about, am I ruining my children's lives? It's a lot, but it's just really, it was like a gut feeling, like knowing deep deep inside myself, being really honest with myself, and then having hope for a better future, whatever that meant. I didn't meet Tommy until 3 years later, but
Right.
when I was trying to explain it to my dad, I was like, even if I'm alone, it's going to be okay, because I know that I'm going to be happier
Right.
that way than with my ex.
Yeah,
And
of
we were
course.
young, and we were young, and then
Of
life
course.
want different things, and we're friends now.
Great.
But
Yeah, we
it's
evolve and change, and not everyone's meant to be together. It just doesn't mean it was bad. It just means you're not meant to be together.
not meant to be together, but it's all good now. It all worked out. I think you have to have hope for the
Yeah.
future, but I think there's something inside you that knows. There's like that little voice, and
And and you
you
just,
think
it's like
no.
having the courage to like, it's like what we said is facing it, not ignoring it and avoiding it.
Facing it, being honest with yourself, even if that means, like I said, it was a very tough decision because of my children.
Of course.
But I think everyone's happy now. And looking back, I think my kids are happy that I'm happy now. They love
Yes.
Tommy. We all made it. We all made it out okay.
Yeah, and I
But
think that's amazing what you just said, Dee. Your kids see you happy, and I think a lot of women forget that that is medicine. I think children seeing their mom happy is the greatest gift you can give them.
it's so true.
Like honestly.
Yeah, it
So
is.
I'm like, okay, so let's talk about work. Okay, enough family. Let's talk about your business because you're thriving and I want to know. We need to understand between the divorce and meeting Tommy, did you start the business, a business then, or was it when you met Tommy? Will you tell us how it all got started?
The fashion business was really inspired by Tommy.
Oh,
He was doing a collection, and I'd always be in his ear, like, I like this, I like that, you should do this. And one day he was doing a preppy collection. I was talking about a bag. So I started doing bags because Tommy said to me, you should do that. Why don't you make a prototype? And I made a prototype of this bag that you could travel with, because it would change covers, like I don't know if you remember the Papagallo bag or the
yeah.
Bermuda bag that we used to change.
Yeah.
And I was like, we need an adult version of that, because I travel so much, and to pack bags, it's such a pain in the neck, but you want to have different bags for different outfits. So we did these bags, and I brought them to Mindy Grossman, who was at HSN at the time, and she loved
Wow.
them. And I went on and sold them there. And that kind of, somebody believing in me, my husband, that kind of pushed me to do that. And from there, I then got the Judith Lieber gig.
Okay, I
Um,
think that you need to discuss this, Dee. I don't think people realize that you're the creative director of Judith Lieber. I mean, that is like the most iconic bags.
It
I
is so
think.
much fun. It is
Is
so
it?
much
Like,
fun.
how did you get involved in that? Did they really all just come into play once you were like satisfied, happy? Did you start then being like having that kind of freedom to say, okay, I'm really interested in this. I really love that. Because I think sometimes when we're in a really good place is when we're really open to opportunity. So I feel
Absolutely.
like, do you know what I mean? So was that when kind of all of your creativity, because obviously you were in the fashion world, you obviously love fashion, right? I mean, you're a model, you were in it, you were in Paris. I mean, you've seen it all. How did that all come into play? So is Tommy seeing you and being like, you are so fashionable, you are so fabulous, why aren't you doing something? Because it sounds like he is your biggest cheerleader,
He is. He
which
is.
I
I mean,
love.
he always said to me, "Oh, you've got a great sense of style. I love your taste," and things like that. So, but I mean, it was like one person that believed in me to do that, and so one thing
Led
led
to the
to
next.
another. It's the same kind of storyline. It was like it starts somewhere, and
Yeah.
then it grows. So the Judith Lieber business came after I started the bag business, and it was sold to ABG, which is Jamie Salter, and then my husband and I invested in it, because we this is one of the few American luxury
Yeah.
heritage brands that we have. We have, I don't know, Tiffany, and we have
Yep.
things, but these bags have been on the arms of first ladies in the 60s. So I was really fascinated by it. And it's so so much fun to do, and I love doing it. And people have tried to knock them off, and you really
You just
can't knock
can't.
because it's just a very like special quality. And I've loved to work on it and sort of push the whimsical in it to make it a little
What
bit younger.
inspires you, Dee, to do those? Because the bags are just so beautiful. They're so iconic. Like, what is inspo? Do you sit in your room quietly? Are you out walking? Are you with your girlfriends? Like, how do you get that inspo to design?
With Judith Lieber, I think the whimsier the better. And
Yeah.
it literally can be, you can make a bag out of, we've done pizza bags, we eating pizza. Let's do pizza. We did the microphone and I've done some fun collabs with some great people. We did a
So
collab with
amazing.
Ashley Longshore. We did like a Star Wars collab. We've
Oh
done
my
business
goodness.
collabs. I just think they're fun conversation pieces and they're also pieces of art. So I keep mine displayed out on the table. They are meant to spark conversation and to be fun and to be, adored and
Do you
admired. And
have a favorite one if you had to pick?
ooh, well, I do kind of. My favorite one that I have is the pink rainbow French fry because it's my first collection that I did. And it kind of went viral. And I saw that the Chinese tried to copy it. They did a terrible job, but still, when they're copying you, you know you've done something good.
That is amazing. What's the next step with Judas Lee? Are you all like, are you guys coming out with something new? Is there any secrets you can tell us?
There's nothing secret. We're showing the new collection in New York next week. I'm going to be going there, but we just always try to come up with new ideas. My latest idea is I'm Googling Christmas tree ornaments to try to get ideas because somehow
It's amazing.
there's so many different Christmas tree ornaments. And I'm like, pie, we haven't done a pie. Let's do a sandwich. Let's do,
Have you done a unicorn yet?
yes, we
Oh my
have
God, I
done,
love the unicorns. Love
yes.
the unicorns and the
A
red lips, I think you've
beautiful
done.
rainbow unicorn. And
Oh
I've given
my,
it as a gift to a couple of my girlfriends that are unicorns. And
oh, I love that. Because, I always say women are unicorns. That's why kids believe in unicorns because they see a real life one walking around their house and that's their mom.
I have
Like,
known a few unicorns in my life, and I've given one I gave to Iris Apfel, who was a true unicorn,
I
and that was
mean,
a gift to her. And
enough said. Enough
yes,
said. I mean, badass till the end,
absolutely.
literally. I want to hear everything that's coming up, but I think people want to know, how do you balance it? We're moms, we are CEOs, we're wives, we're daughters to elderly parents. We're balancing and managing a lot every single day. And I know we all can feel very overwhelmed. How do you manage, and what's been any lessons you've learned?
Well, I think that when you're juggling a lot, the first thing is that I have to be very, very organized. So I'm pretty organized. I have to be just because there's so much going on. That helps a lot. And then prioritizing.
Yeah,
So I've got a schedule. I'm very scheduled, like I'm sure you are too. So if you've got your schedule and you're organized, you can get
a lot
through
done.
everything that you need to do. I do have some help at home because with my 15-year-old is really the only one that's living at home now. The other ones are older. My oldest is turning 30, and then I have a 27-year-old. So they're
You
uh,
cannot have a 30-year-old.
I know I'm 45, so do the
I
math.
mean, I cannot. I can't.
I always say I can because I'm only 45, but no, I have a I have I have a 30-year-old and the other ones are older, but my joke is that all our kids are special needs because I've got special needs and then I've got special needs like this one needs a car and this one needs that. They're all special.
They must be so inspired by you, though. So, I mean, watching you, I think watching a mom who, is inspiring. Do you think that has propelled and helped?
think they're I think they find me annoying, not inspiring, but I mean, I would hope somewhere in there, maybe later on in life when I'm, underground, they might think, yes, that was cool that she did all that.
Yes.
And I don't know that kids really appreciate their parents so much until maybe they become a parent, or I know I didn't. I mean, I don't know.
No, and
I
I
don't
didn't either.
think kids see me. I think often I just feel like I annoy them.
We all annoy our kids, but I think at the end of the day, I think seeing you happy and seeing you accomplishing goals, I think is always at the end of the day, they're watching,
Yeah.
right? They're
I
watching and listening.
I hope so, and I hope that they see that I'm working hard and that I'm doing it because I'm passionate. It's not I'm enjoying what I'm doing.
How do you make time for them all? I mean, having 7 kids, I think some of us, I mean, I have 2 and it's hard some days. Like, do you do special things with them? Do you make special dates with them? Special plans? How do you do it, Dee?
I mean, we just put it in our schedule. We make
Literally.
time. I mean, literally. With Sebastian, he lives with, so we always, we love to be home. I mean, we're out a lot and we travel a lot, but when we're home, I mean, he's 15 and he's taller than me, but we have a thing that before, if we're all home, he gets in the bed between Tommy and I in the middle before he goes to
Oh,
bed, and he gets his iPad time.
it's
And
amazing.
so that's like a nightly ritual that we do every single night when we're home.
Love that.
We drive him to school every morning when we're home. I mean, we spend a lot of time with Sebastian when we're home.
Right, because you're home.
We're both obsessed with Sebastian, so
You are? Oh my
we're
God.
with him as much as we can.
Are
I
you
mean,
guys homebodies? Dee, you and Tommy?
I mean, I can't wait to watch The Bachelor tonight. I'm like so excited to get into to
Does
see The
Tommy watch it?
Bachelor.
Does Tommy watch
Oh,
it with you?
yes, I
See?
make him watch it.
John gets sucked into these shows too. He pretends he
Right?
doesn't watch, but he loves them all. I'm sorry. You
Tommy's
get sucked
totally
in.
sucked in. He knows all the names. He'll ask me questions.
He's going to kill us for giving away his secret. Tommy, we know now. Wait, Dee, so tell us what's coming up, because I know I want to ask you 2, I think, really important pieces. Number 1, when you were a single mom with your 2 beautiful kids, where did you draw strength from? And because before you met Tommy, you didn't know you were meeting Tommy, right? Like, you had to buckle up and get going. What was that encouragement to yourself?
Well, it was really hard. I relied on my friends.
Yeah.
And my parents. I was living in Monaco at the time, so I wasn't near my family.
Yeah.
So it wasn't really my family that I could rely on. To be really honest, I had
Yes.
to rely on myself. Friends are great, but friends have their own stuff that they're dealing with, and they can be there for you to a certain extent. But ultimately, you have to, again, dig deep, and
Yep.
you have to rely on yourself. You have to be strong, because at the end of the day,
What other choice is there, right?
yeah, what other choice? Like, you have to be there for yourself. You have to believe in yourself. You have to be strong for yourself. However that is that you get there. It's like I always say, like, I trust myself. I believe in myself. There's no secret answer. I think you have to be strong. I have a little quote, like a little sign
Yeah. What does
in
it
my
say?
head that says something to the effect of, like, I don't feel like adulting today, because it's like, life isn't, no matter who you are, what you're doing, what career you have, whatever life, we all bear our crosses in life, right?
Yep.
We all have our challenges. No one gets through scot-free. So at the end of the day, you have to be strong yourself and
Yep.
rely on yourself.
And it's also about, right? Because you're the knight in shining armor coming to save you, right? I always tell
Shining
people,
armor. I mean, there's
you're your
sprinkle
own,
in it,
you're the
but
superhero.
you have to be. And I think, to be honest, I think that's kind of why I was able to meet somebody like as wonderful as Tommy, is because I was strong and okay within myself.
Yes.
And then I could meet somebody like
Like,
that.
you didn't need Tommy to save you. You saved you.
I saved me. And then I
And
was
he's your partner.
lucky enough to meet somebody as wonderful as Tommy. But I think, like, if you're not mentally there, like, it's hard to meet.
Right.
You have to be the person who you want to meet first, and then you can
Thank
meet.
you. That's a yes. Yes. Be the person you want to meet first.
Yes.
Just great advice right there. I'm sorry. Dee, what's coming up for you? Because I know you've got a new line coming out. You're not stopping anytime soon, which you're like, I'm going to keep starting businesses. Why
No,
not?
I know. I've got
Yeah,
so
tell
many
me what's going on.
things. I'm really excited. I'm going to be on QVC, and I have a new line called Mrs. H.
Oh
And I'm
my,
so excited about it because I'm doing home, which is a huge, huge passion of mine.
I am so excited for this. Tell
Yeah.
us everything.
Well, it's going to be launching end of November. So I'm launching with a really, really beautiful sort of holiday collection. I've got scented candles. I've got beautiful cashmere blankets. I mean, really gorgeous, gorgeous stuff. I'm so excited about this. Called Mrs. H. And then Tommy and I are working on a book that is going to be with Vendome, that's coming out. That won't be coming out till next holiday, but it's a book on all the houses that we've done together. The houses and the design and everything is a huge passion for both of us.
It's
I'm working
amazing.
on, I've got a jewelry license, I have another home license, and I'm doing my shoes. And I've got an apparel line that it's going to be on Nordstrom.com. And then for spring, I believe that we're distributing in other stores. It's going to be beautiful clothing for women that's comfortable. I mean, it's really based on what I like and what I would wear, but
Yeah.
I'm going to send you some. You're
Oh, I
getting some
can't
really
wait.
soon.
Wait, I'm so
I think
excited.
you're going to like it because I love your taste. So I
I
think you're
love
gonna like
you. Are you kidding? This I'm so excited. What would you say is your favorite? Like, what's your style? How? What would you say is your style?
Oh my gosh. Well, my style, it kind of depends on what I'm doing,
Yeah.
but I I like to be first of all comfortable, but it's kind of comfortable classic,
Yep.
I would say. I'm not like too
So
sexy
chic.
or
No, but
too,
super
yeah.
chic.
I love like a great tailored suit with like a bell pant, like if I'm going to work. I love that look.
Yes.
Today I'm wearing a jumpsuit.
Love
And I
it.
love jumpsuits because it's like one stop, just quickly put it on when you're busy and running errands and you can still look. I don't know if you can see my
Oh my God, you look so cute. I love that.
thing. It's just easy and cool and fun. I like all different kinds of clothing and styles, whatever makes me feel comfortable and confident.
Right.
And that's why I love what you do so much.
Thank you so much. It's just about feeling good in your skin. I think sometimes people overthink it and it's just an excuse to not do it because you just don't want to make the effort. And I think it's like people don't realize that little bit of effort actually makes you feel so much better and takes you so much further. So I just
Yeah.
never understand people who don't want to just get up and just make that little bit of effort. I think clothing doesn't matter the price tag. It just says something about how you're feeling. Like when you make that little bit of effort, it just says something. And I think
And
just Tom
jewelry. Don't
and
forget the jewelry.
I mean, I'm clicking away. I'm Mrs. T. You're Mrs. H. I'm Mrs. T. So we could do a different line.
I need to ask you though, do you have to take that
Yes.
off every night?
No, I sleep in this. I sleep, shower, go in the ocean, pool, anything you could imagine. I'm doing in
What
this
about
jewelry.
going through the airport, the security check? How
Yeah,
do you do that?
they literally laugh every time they see me
You know,
coming. Like, oh, they're like, oh God, here she is, and you have to go through the blow machine, and literally everyone's staring at me, and I don't care because I'm like, I'm happy. Leave me alone.
yeah.
I'm not hurting anybody. This is my body armor.
Okay, so now I know. So now I
You got to
can
wear it all.
I was like, it's intimidating because I was like, oh, I don't want to be that girl holding the line up at the.
Oh, everyone's staring
He
like
looked at me and I'm like, I can't. Like, they don't come off. That's what I just said to him. I'm like, they don't come off because they're like undoing them all and
it's
no.
impossible. Can you imagine me? I'd be like, guys, give me 45 hours. I'll be back. Like, there's just no way.
And you
I
sleep with that all on.
I sleep with everything on. I wake up like this.
You don't hurt your husband in the night with that? That's
He's
crazy.
couldn't be more. The other night he got up and was like, "I'm going to sleep downstairs. I can't with the jingling." And I was like, "Bye." I was like, "I'm not taking off." You married me. Sorry, you're stuck. So that's how we're living. How are you
Well,
and Tommy?
you look great and you have such great style. And I can't believe this stuff. I mean, I've bought some of the stuff that you've recommended on Amazon. Blown
Come
away.
on, Dee, tell me the truth, okay?
No,
Like
I really am.
some
When you
things
get a
are
home
worth
brand,
it.
I'm like, what is she? Okay, I'm like clicking on Amazon. I'm like the Hermes blanket wrap thing. I was like all over it. I'm like, what? Where did she
Buy
find?
20. Buy 20 for everyone for Christmas. I'm not joking.
I don't know
I
how you
swear.
do it.
It's crazy, but I love it because at the end of the day, what I have come to realize, which is I think this is why I love you. Again, it's just about inspiring women to just whatever it is that makes you happy. What for me, it's clothes, it's jewelry, it's getting dressed. I just love fashion. It's just a tool of mine that I use. That just if I'm having a hard day or I'm just not in a good mood, it's just something to distract me, something to put some good energy back in me. And I just feel like every woman, if you just made a little bit of effort, just start there. If nothing else, just start there. So at least you're taking care of yourself. It's always about putting the oxygen mask on first. I know you travel a lot. I've heard that said on a plane my entire life. And I never really thought about how important it was and what that really meant for women, especially. Put your oxygen mask on first, then you take care of everybody else.
That goes back to my divorce story. Like that was really the
Exactly.
inspiration too. And
Right.
I was right. I mean, it all worked out.
It all worked out.
It all worked
Does
out.
Tommy get dressed every day? I know he's in fashion, but not everybody in fashion gets dressed. Like, are you guys somebody who are up, you're dressed? Like, I know I ask everybody, and I'm just
No,
asking you as a couple because I got John getting dressed now. So, are you guys somebody who believe in getting up and getting dressed every day?
Tommy totally does. I mean, it's a little bit different now that we live in Palm Beach. I mean,
Yeah.
when we were living in Connecticut and he would go to New York, Tommy had the most beautiful suits and ties, and he would get up every
Love
single
that.
morning and look incredible and to go into the city to work.
That's so
Palm
sexy,
Beach,
isn't it,
it's
Dee?
like not, it is very sexy. I
Yeah.
mean, and he would always smell good, and I mean, it
Oh,
was
love
amazing.
that.
Palm Beach is a little bit different. We do not wear a suit and tie here. It's not the same look.
Right.
So here, I'd say his wardrobe is more on the
More
shorts,
casual, but he's
more
dressed.
casual.
Okay.
But at night, when we go out to dinner, he's dressed
Oh,
really.
that's fat. Do you get dressed every day, Dee? Do you like now that you're in, but even though if you're in Palm Beach, are you somebody who in the morning believes in that kind of theory and motto?
I do. I do. I mean, I will tell you there are certain days, like the other day, it was, I don't know, it was the holiday weekend. It was pouring rain here. I wasn't going out anywhere. I kept the sweatpants on. Not gonna lie. But I think that
I forgive you.
I think it's, when I'm home, I'll probably be in something more comfortable. But I
Yeah,
think that, you're right. When you're going out into the world, you want to feel and look your best, and you want to feel and, be confident. And so, when I'm headed out that door, you better believe that I have on something that I'm
you do,
dressed.
right? I always say you don't have to dress for your situation or your problem. You know what I mean? Like just because there's something going on in your life doesn't mean you have to look that way. You
Right.
can still look fabulous, and that does something to your brain when you look in the mirror and you still see yourself looking fabulous. Gives you a little more boost of confidence than it does if you look like shit. That's just my theory.
It's true. It's kind of like working out a little bit. It's like
Yes,
hard to get over that hump, because if you're feeling bad, you're like not in the mindset that you want to get dressed up.
yes.
But if you can get over that, it's true. Once you put that on, you're going to feel and
And
act.
once you do it consistently, right, Date? Like you do it consistently, it starts to feel good. Like working out, you start to lose a little weight, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, love
Second name.
working out. Right. Now, Dee, I want to ask you one last question. I ask everybody, what are your happy tools? What is your happy toolkit that no matter, even in the hard, that's what you know you can do that always shifts your mood, helps you feel mood booster, energy booster, just puts you in a good mood?
Well, my son Sebastian, when I'm with him, I'm always in a good mood. I mean, he just makes me smile. His energy is like incredible. He's just the most loving, sweet, beautiful child.
I
So
love
if you
that.
get me around him, I'm always going to be in a good mood.
Yep.
My number one would be my family. Tommy, he'll always put me in a good mood.
He
Just
will.
having that security.
Yeah,
It's like love,
it is. Do you
being,
work out a lot? Do you work out every day? Do you do like any kind of like wellness stuff that you do to kind of keep like that you
I
just know
work
folk?
out. I'm not going to say that it's like the most fun thing that I do
Yeah.
but afterwards I feel great. So that's definitely something that, that gives me like, that makes me feel strong, like physically.
Yep.
So when I get through a workout, then I feel physically strong, which then I feel mentally strong. So yeah, I'd say those two are my happy tools. And
That's
then,
amazing.
jewelry.
Of course.
Jewelry.
Of course it is.
Some necklaces and that, and a little bit of lipstick, a little bit of makeup,
Yeah.
and you feel better.
Just gives you a little boost, right?
It
I
does.
love it. Well, Dee, I've loved meeting you finally. I loved having you on. Everything that you are working on, I'm inspired. I'm motivated. I am 52 and I feel like I'm just getting started. And I just love, when you surround yourself with this energy, to me personally, that's why I think your circle matters, your family matters, it's your team. And I think you have to have a really good team so you can win. And
That-
I think that's what really is inspiring. And I love speaking to women and surrounding myself with really strong, powerful, hardworking women. So thank you for being on. I am wishing you the best of luck. I can't wait to see Mrs. H Line. And do we know the name of the book?
I think the working title is like Home with the Hilfigers.
Ooh, that's cute. I
Yeah,
love
all
that.
phones.
I
And
love that.
Mrs. H and Judith Lieber
And
and
Judith Lieber, anything, and Dio.
and Dio and Dio.
You are badass. I love you. I am inspired by you, and I can't wait to meet you.
I feel the same about you, actually. I really do. I love you. I'm following you. Your code reds are killing me every single day. I'm like, oh my God, what has she found now?
Wait till you see what I found. Dee, I've got a good one coming later today, so stay tuned. Stay tuned.
I can't believe it. You're really amazing. And
Thank you.
I'm a huge fan. I love what you do. Keep up the great work.
Guys, come back next week for another episode of Coming In Hot. Please like, subscribe, follow, and we wish you the best week ever. Get up and get dressed. Mwah.